I didn't realize the Melania book was written in Slovene. Over.
Do you concur with the president that the 2020 election was rigged?
Well, look, let me... Boo! What are we booing? We don't know.
Boo to question.
Boo liberal media for pushing back on our conspiracy theories.
We're just booing the concept of JD Vance having to answer a question.
I think in the South, there's a phrase that really works.
The South will rise again.
Yeah. Bless your heart.
I feel like I'm watching that episode of TNG when Q puts humanity on trial.
You obtuse piece of flotsam.
There's too many hot takes. I need a cold-blooded vocal chameleon to give us his impression and impressions. Gleep, get me comedian James Adomian on this ship.
Alienating.
Welcome to the ship. You're an alien. Let's get into it.
I'm sorry, what?
Look at Vance. He did a ton of progress on his favorable ratings. He went from a minus 22 favorable rating before the debate with this group of debate watchers to a minus 3.
He did it. He got to minus 3.
Sisyphus, he's made a ton of progress getting that boulder nearly to the top of the hill.
No way it falls back down again.
What's the opposite of advance in the polls? Just Vance?
When you play the game of life, you advance or you vance.
Even in Republicans' biggest fantasy, they're still legitimately and officially unlikable.
Look, I'm not going to deny the other team got some points on the board. There were some touchdowns we gave up there, but you got to look at the final scoreboard, guys. We got 11 guys on a team. Statistically, 2 of those guys are going to be gay, bisexual, transgender. The other side of the football is they're all weird guys.
The primary role of the moderators is to facilitate the debate and provide the candidates with the opportunity to fact-check claims made by each other.
Oh, the role is to provide the candidates with the chance to fact-check. We wouldn't do that. That would be insane if the people who do facts for a living were fact-checking.
Hi, I'm not a journalist, but I play one on TV.
Kind of runs itself. They're one step away from just having like a video box that people kind of walk into and they're like, we just offer the facilities.
I am the Automa Moderator 2000. Welcome to the debate.
And I'm as surprised as anybody of this coalition that Kamala Harris has built. From Bernie Sanders to Dick Cheney to Taylor Swift.
What an Overton window. You have the Taylor Swift apparently on the far right.
Cheney's in the middle.
That's like when Charlie Manson at the end of his life came out of the closet and said he was bisexual. And we were like, no, thank you. No, we don't need him.
Okay, let's check in with Sebastian Gorka and who he thinks is in the Democrats' coalition.
All right, let's get to the rub.
The rub, Mr. Bond.
When you have one of two political parties using language such as President Trump should be eliminated.
This is Salem News Channel.
The witches got off on a technicality, you see. The hunt in Salem must continue.
And that party is fine with transgenderism.
Patriotmobile.com/Gorka.
Don't we have to stop as Christians and just first fully understand the forces arrayed against us are those of the Dark One? Don't we have to just begin there?
There's no doubt.
Will you kneel before the false god? Or like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, will you say no?
How much of what Gorka says is just Dungeons and Dragons player's handbook?
The Dark One rises from his cave. The Christian knight in his shining white armor will lance the serpent as so many boils of hell.
Yes, that's just logic.
Okay, Dr. Gorka, I rolled a 12 on charisma. What does that get me?
You are condemned to a torture chamber where your own transgenderist sins are visited upon you. I love that the pivot... Well, of course it's a valid pivot. They say that Trump is a dictator, but they're the ones pushing transgenderism.
Haven't you ever seen a gaggle of transgendered people trying to rule by fiat? It happens all the time.
The fascists may be accused of goose-stepping, but the transgenders, they're clearly goose-slaying.
Every time RuPaul says, go off king, that's another endorsement of an autocracy.
'Tis they who have crowned their queen.
You know, I grew up in a working class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and
I know women. I swear I know them. If you don't believe me, call them.
And, you know, I one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching.
I'm going to exploit you.
I have never liked this kind of political discourse where the person tries to pretend that they're from a normal.
Yes.
I grew up in a flattened shed that was purchased from a Walmart. But I understand why they have to do it, because there's like 55% of people like to pretend they're being related to.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then you get this John Edwards bullshit on all sides. I know someone. I do. I actually know a person.
I have a string of anecdotes for you, a composite of many people.
Oh, you've asked me a direct question. Let me tell you where in the Midwest I'm from.
Let me tell you about a little juncture between two highways in my home state.
And she told me something a couple years ago.
She won't be voting
she
for me.
felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that, as
There's only one way to take this, buddy.
Sounds like she's happy she had an abortion.
in my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue.
We want to earn your trust to make the decision for
Yeah, we need to do a better job of telling women they're wrong.
When we're swooping in to countermand women's rights, we need to do a better job of going, shh, it's going to be okay.
We need to do a better job of not waking up the family when we put the chloroform over that woman's mouth and then kidnap her.
Wallace is just like writing his Menards list over there.
filling out his 11% rebate form.
We could try a pass play, and if it gets to fourth down, we're going to go for a field goal.
And the proper way to handle this, as messy as democracy sometimes is, let the individual states make their abortion policy.
Let the states decide their own Jim Crow policy.
If the states want it, then who are we to say, as the leader of the states, what they should do?
You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes.
All those illegals running Airbnbs and working for BlackRock.
Yeah, those illegals with proper documentation.
They're taking all the jobs at BlackRock.
There's all these vacant condominiums in downtown areas of most major cities, and it is Haitian immigrants that are using them to eat cats and dogs, and they're not living in them.
The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens.
The Haitians are American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by you.
Yeah, they should have stayed where they were and accepted decades and centuries of regime changes that we benevolently imposed on them.
Now, JD Vance is about to mansplain to you exactly why that's not exactly true.
Well, Margaret, but
Thank you,
Margaret, how long have you been working here, Margaret?
Can I speak to your manager, please? Is there a way I can order off menu for this debate?
the rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check.
It was my understanding that there would be no fact checking.
The rules said very clearly that lies would be allowed.
You know, it's really been a fact check summer for Republicans.
Another thing everybody talks about that debate when they fact checked our real president.
Our real president? Let's fact check that.
They're going to pour stuff out there that in the polling. Yep. They're polling even. They're polling even. Come on, let's say, yeah.
The liberals are now starting, it's a poll and a poll and a poll and a poll. Let me ask you this. How many polls does it take to figure out the number of freedom? You can't, they're going to do this. You're going to go bip, blap, blip, zip, 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 and they're going to try to distract you with all this facts and information and mathematical numbers.
In order to steal an election, they have to convince you that it could happen.
As you know, we've decided that it's impossible for us to lose an election, which is the entire premise by any information that goes counter to that has got to be a conspiracy from George Soros.
How are we going to caption this? It's going to be a nightmare.
I'll tell you one thing. The truth is hard to caption. That's why the liberals they're obsessed with putting captions on the bottom of the screen.
What is the latest from our real unfact-checkable president?
I'm outraged that she let in this savage, let her in. She murdered him. In my opinion, Kamala murdered him, just like she did, just like she had a gun in her hand.
She did what I always wanted to.
Shoot somebody.
The information we have that Kamala Harris has owned guns, it's scary, very scary. She's walking around with a gun in her hand like John Wick. She's like going like John Wick, and we're the hotel business, folks.
It's wild that he just accused the vice president of the United States of murder and isn't in the top 49 news stories.
I know.
You said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. You actually didn't travel to Asia until August. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Well, you found the worst thing I've ever done.
I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect.
Just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain
holding his feet to the flame on this one?
This is the one follow-up they do.
Well, Tim, your travel agent has been listening backstage the whole time. Let's bring her out.
There was a time difference. You get to Hong Kong and you're tired. The weather's hot. I looked up and I thought, it might have happened. Maybe I was here. I saw it on TV. You get scrambled up because, you're there and the water drains the other way.
It's really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy when he peacefully gave over power on January the 20th, as we have done.
2 weeks after a dedicated attempt to overturn the Constitution and the government, 2 weeks after, full of bad news, he decided not to do it.
Incredible that fact was not checked.
Yeah.
Vance is basically doing the how many lies can I tell without getting called out?
He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
I'm focused on the future. Let's go back to the pandemic.
What happened 4 years ago, Tim?
Tim, I'm playing 3D chess.
Tim, I'm going to dodge this question.
I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim,
you can, however, yell, hang Mike Pence.
Okay, real quick. Let's check in with one of Vance's so-called victims of censorship.
Now, I don't cover this because I'm defending JD Vance, who I think is a great guy. They tell you he's having sex with a couch and later admit it's not true. And then now he's got eyeliner on. It's called shadows. There's different lenses. There's different lights.
So weird to see him debunking a conspiracy theory. This is not natural. He's not good at this.
Well, there was a number of things that I have to do based on the consent decrees. Lawsuit settlements that were recently passed. I am to bunk at least one conspiracy theory purported per episode now in InfoWars.
We'll just do it off. I have the printout right here. No problem. Here, overhead shot right here. I'll just show it this way. Overhead shot.
So pissy with his director.
Get me that projector from 1999 substitute teacher classrooms.
Can I get a little screen, please? Get over the shoulder, folks.
I'll do it myself. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
The big story everywhere is JD Vance wearing, a lady in an old truck stop or whatever, where they draw their eyebrows on.
A lady at an old truck stop, Bertha or whatever her name is, you stop in and she says, "You're looking for a good time?" And you go, "I am, but the kind of good time I'm looking for is a restoration of patriotic American values."
Why they look light here, and then here in a dark room they look dark? Because the light's on top of his head. What the hell do you think?
Alex Jones and JD Vance are both men who have beards doing more work than every union member along the docks along the East Coast.
The great thing about Alex Jones is that his face looks like somebody's doing that kind of trick that you do when you have your face upside down and somebody films it. That's how deep underground we are.
Absolutely, totally insane. And they say we're weird. Nitric boost. Turmeric 95.
They say we're weird. We'll be right back after this brief message. If your kratom is starting to negatively affect your neurological abilities, try to supplement it with Nitro Boost.
Would a weird person spill turmeric 95 into his eyeballs every night before going to sleep? I don't think so.
It's all available at InfoWarsStore.com.
Oh, don't forget the ashwagandha with black pepper.
Turns out they are all water pills. They're all the control pills. PatriotPlacebo.com.
Organic placebos.
CapsuledSawdust.com.
Donald Trump, he is clearly taking this seriously as a politician is on the ground trying to show that he is there in support of the people on the ground in Georgia. And of course, this comes as while he is, again, offering a message of unity.
The federal government is not being responsive. They're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone.
A message of unity.
The former president has said the federal government and the Democrat governor of the state going out of their way to not help people in Republican areas.
A message of unity.
The vice president, she's out someplace campaigning, looking for money.
A message of unity.
Ideally with the governor, that governor, he's been calling the president, hasn't been able to get him.
A message of unity.
President Trump posted in reaction another fake and staged photo from someone who has no clue what she's doing. Now they've left Americans to drown in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and elsewhere in the South. Under this administration, Americans always come last because we have leaders who have no idea how to lead.
A message of unity.
And have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
He is clearly taking this seriously.
Oh, what a wacky world of clips.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Thanks for poisoning your brain with us.
Yes, I mean, thanks for kidnapping me here. It was more fun than I imagined it might be.
Is there anything you want us to shout out or?
Oh, sure. My stand-up special, Path of Most Resistance, is out now. It's available for free, streaming on YouTube, on 800 Pound Gorilla Media. It's a real fun special. You know, it checks off a lot of boxes in a bunch of different directions. It's
oh, we love checking off over here.
Yeah. It's like it's funny and it's dumb.
Hey Humies, thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, help us invade your planet by subscribing to our YouTube channel or drop us a comment. We really love those. If you really like the show, subscribe to our Patreon where we share some bonus content. All right, okay, gotta go. Bye.